5 is not made for kids, even though there's nothing negative in here. It's just that they want you to answer that one question before you put a video up or go live. Is this meant for kids? No. But kids probably could watch this painting, unless we talk about horror movies, but then no, see? I guess there's no happy medium. All right, where are we? I worked last night really hard over here in this section. I worked really hard on this area. I've got a lot of these windows looking perfect, really good for what I want. And I'm kind of coming in through and putting the white in. I still have to do some work in this zone. Let's stop here for a minute and see what we can do in this area. Let's see, before I do anything, we gotta make some paint. We gotta make some paint. All right, the paint from last week is no bueno, no good. Hey, it looks like a face. Like yeah, I have pareidolia. Where you see faces and everything. Okay, let's move this around. Boy, there's not many places left on here. Let's put our white right there. And I don't know if we can squeeze any out. I'm just gonna have to grab it with the palette knife. Pull it out. We'll put it in that little spot right there. Hopefully I'll remember that's the fresh paint, not the spot above it that's hard as a rock. Keep grabbing that. Hold that. There we go. I want to keep using the same palette paper because I have been doing this thing with my paintings this last year where I keep the palette paper and I write down, hello, smarter than a waffle. Thanks for joining. So I've been doing this thing where I write down the name of the painting and the date on the palette paper, and then I put it into this book. And I bought this ridiculously large book for it, so I did not like my bangs today, so I put a hat on. Maybe by the end of the day, my bangs will look perfect, and then I can take the hat off. I think that's the goal of the day. All right, I'm gonna put this down here, and it's funny as I hate this palette knife that I bought, but I've been sure using it a lot. It's meant for me to scrape the stuff out of these and get in there, so, but it just seems more usable than not. I'm trying to keep this upright because as soon as I carefully tip it, that oil can leak out, and that's how you start ruining your paint. Now, if this lasted 50 years and I did 7 paintings, and then I got, yes, Payne's Gray and Titanium White. So this is like older than me, and I did 7 paintings. How long do you think this is gonna last me? Hopefully this will last me, you know, to the next person this goes to, because this came from someone else to me. Pass it on. All right, so I got everything ready there. It looks good, and I got some, oh, we have to do this part too, where our turpenoid needs to be dumped. All right. I will actually use clean turpenoid at the end. I'll just do this dumping method back and forth with a lot of my paintings. See, a lot of the thick paint stayed in there. And so then what I'll do is just take one of my rags and clean that paint out. Here we go. Okay, maybe 2. Gotta remember to keep smiling. Hello, Kimberly Anderson. Thanks for joining. Now, what I'm gonna do is, because I am notorious for spilling this little jar, this is from my grandma, this is older than me, I'm just gonna go ahead and pour that right back into here. And I'm gonna shut the door behind me there. Oh yeah, let the particles, well, I have one of those wire ones. It just doesn't work for me because I need pure clean turpenoid a lot with the fine oil. But I do take the wire one with me when I go on vacation. That way everybody in my group can paint too and have our brushes clean. So I'm just gonna pour that in here, just about that much, because like I said, notorious for spilling this. If you've ever had to go buy this stuff at the hardware store and they don't have this exact brand, run away. Because I have bought this stuff at the hardware store. It was turpenoid, but it was a different company. It smelled, even though it was odorless, it had this weird minty smell, and I could smell it continuously. So it's good for outdoor use, so. To clean in my little garden, yeah. And that's why I say it's harder. This is the thing that I have dealt with about being a waste not, want not person. So, okay, this is the thing is your brush. This you'll get this. You'll get this, okay? I've got extra paint on my brush. Do I wipe it off on the paper towel, making the paper towel dirtier quicker, hence throwing the paper towel and wasting more paper towel? Or do I go ahead and do that and then have less use of the paper towel, but dirtier turpenoid quicker? That is definitely what, like, I'm always like, it's like it's to me the paper towel water cleanup thing has always been an issue in my life. Does it take more paper towels or water to clean it up? What am I going to waste the most of? I know paper is expensive, so that's what I'm saying, you know. But what I do with my little papers here is I will put about 2 or 3 layers down. So, and this is where I put my brushes on as I'm working. And I'll wipe my turpenoid off onto these. So the turpenoid sucks down into the paper towels underneath and doesn't hurt my tabletop. And then I have one for wiping off that little tool that I have for making my straight lines there. So, hello, SOICH. Thanks for joining. So, you know, that, and then when I'm done wiping it, I'll add that to the list. So this pile gets really big after about a week. Let's just say it, we'll say that. So, so that's what I'll do is I just keep my stuff like right on there like that and close to it and then absorb. So I don't use too much. That's the thing is you just, as a recycled artist, you're thinking about the small things like this here. I shouldn't even be using this. I should just be using a piece of wood. But I was trained using the paper. So I'm just gonna use the paper, but I use it sparingly now, definitely. And I have 2 palette boxes, and I keep these in the freezer, by the way. So all my paint all the time is ready to go, even if it's from a painting way back when, it's always frozen, ready to go. So, and stack them in and use the retro paper. That's a good one too. I like that. Do they still make margarine containers? Yeah, it was a joke. Is when I was young, everything was margarine and lard. I mean, we used to keep our bacon grease all the time. I haven't done that. I haven't done that in years. I don't keep my bacon grease anymore because it's just my husband and I. We can't eat that much grease. And then he's got eggs now. So now we have so many eggs. Like I said, we gotta find like people to give these eggs to. This is ridiculous. There's too many. All right, I'm just going back and forth real quick here, just before I get started too much. I'm just gonna grab a little bit of this Payne's Gray, and I'm just gonna go ahead and where that tiny little fuzz. Fuzz loves to come over to my painting, and not nowhere else in the house but my paintings. Hold up. I just want to get this edge cleaned up because I went through last night and did a lot of cleanup on the painting in certain areas. And so that's pretty much what I'm doing. A lot of the building has been put in already. So now I just need to curate it and take care of what's already here and make it a little better. All right, let's get down here. I did decide my next painting. It's not a person. It's a piece of toast. I know this is odd, and I think someone might have already painted a piece of toast, but my piece of toast is going to be something different. So I'm excited about my piece of toast painting. Yeah, one little piece of fuzz. I'm at the thrift stores. Not my town. I don't even think there's an art gallery in this town. Actually, I thought about opening up one for the year. All right, thanks for. I gotta go to the grocery store later too. I gotta get paint for my Truman project, so I will be doing that after this today. So thanks for joining. Have a good one. I gotta figure out what for dinner tonight. Oh, I made lasagna, so maybe that's what I can have for dinner tonight. So the toast, my toast design is, I was thinking, when I was a kid, I used to love to eat my sandwiches into little race cars. So you bite away your sandwich and it looked like a little race car. I loved to do that when I was a kid. And so I figured, why don't you do a giant 4-foot by 4-foot painting of your cut of your toast? And I said, well, okay. I don't have a rhyme or reason. And I usually talk about this like you should always choose your paintings according to, is it going to look good on the wall? Where do you see this painting at? I don't see this piece of toast painting anywhere, but I just have this desire to paint this piece of toast cut bit away to look like a little race car. And it's not even to really look like a race car, it's about your imagination. It's just using your imagination to see something in there and then portraying that in a method. And then when people look at it, they're not going to know it's a race car unless I write down it's race car. And then I explain to them my story about the race car and how like shallow is that story. Do you think that's a shallow to paint toast? I mean in a sense you could put like all kinds of, ideas and thoughts into it to really like get out their psychology of painting toast. We could do that. Yummy, John says. John says it's yummy. So definitely, I think that'll work. All right, another thing I have to do is what I did over here yesterday in this section last night for hours and hours. No, I just went ahead and I cleaned this area up here and got these windows a little bright and more straightened out, put that white in there. I do need to put a little dark line here and finish these off a little bit, kind of straighten, clean up this section here. But I'm just coming across and adding things. I need to clean this area up in here. And I really need to lighten this. Let's come back here. I'm going to show you a few things that I'm not happy with. But this is what is expected at this point of the painting. So I wasn't happy with how light this shadow was. So I will darken the shadow. I'm going to make it a lot more darker. Look how dark this shadow is on this white building. So I need to not only darken the shadow, but I also need to lighten this building. Where is my sample? Okay, so you can see in my sample how much lighter that building's got to be. So that's one of the things I'll do. I'll probably lighten this building up. This has barely been worked on, just a little bit. So I have a lot, this is the hard area because I have to reach up high to do that. So it's like either squat, sit, it's difficult. And then over here, this building is looking really good. The windows just need to go over one more time, maybe a touch up after that. But I want this building to be lighter, and I'm going to want to have this to be lighter too. And then I'll go through and straighten and clean up this section as I go. The lower areas are looking really good. I don't know if I need to come back and do anything at the bottom here, but I'll just keep going as I'm working. I do need to work on finish this section up. I feel like this is the one where I'll just have to hold my breath the longest. I hold my breath when I paint. So we've got a new waterfall in there. I don't know if you guys noticed this, but I do add unusual things into this painting. I'm really excited about it. I've just put in this sleeve of saltines recently, and then I put a little like partial cigarette right there where the pipe was supposed to be. It's barely see those little things, and then my salt and pepper shakers. They just really add to this unique look here on this. So my toast painting, I don't think I'll be adding any hidden things into my toast painting, but I will constantly be thinking about what to do next. I was supposed to do the giant grizzly bear in hearts, and he's like, and everything is hearts, and it's called Hidden Rage. That's part of my series of Hidden Rage paintings. And I was going to do that. I had it all prepared, but I lost that desire to do it. And so when and that's really important. So when you have a really strong desire to create something, that is the best time to step back and do that item. If you're inspired, create. Now that is how I work. I work 40 to 60 hours a week on my artwork, and I always have something ready to go. But if I'm inspired by something, I will put that to the side and I'll go and work on the inspiration, knowing I always have a job here to work on, to do. So I also have the Truman Show project on scheduled. That's being worked on right now and shop on the weekends. And I have the Dustil diorama that will be in the studio here pretty soon. As soon as I finish this painting, I thought this would be done last week. Boy, was I wrong. Hopefully this week, but I'll probably be wrong. But sometimes it just like that. It's done and you don't realize it. So, and then I have another house I'm painting. And then of course the toast painting, which I'll probably bring that in soon. And luckily my easel is large enough for that 4-foot painting, and I'm happy that I can be able to do that with this easel. I was able to buy this easel on sale, and it's been a saver, except it is super heavy, I must say. And it's nice so as I can have it at this like uh, flat angle, like whatever here, so it's straight up and down. I'm lost in the words, and that way I can be able to paint on there. So definitely, I'm going to do a little bit more painting. I'm going to make this show a little bit shorter than usual because I do have to go get that paint for my Truman project today, so I have that this weekend ready when I go work outside in the shop. It's kind of cold out here, so it's not like I can work out every day in the shop. I would have to uh, probably buy some more firewood to keep the wood stove stocked up. But I would eventually like to move out into the shop and do more woodwork in the future. And I do want to have some great ideas for that, but we'll just see as it goes. You have your dream of always wanting a wood shop, you have it, and then you're like, well, I don't have any projects for that wood shop at the moment. I mean, which I have. I have been working on the wood shop this last couple years. I've had to reorganize it and remove some things and replace things, and then life happens. It gets dirty or more things to do. It's a ever going process. So I'm just gonna clean up a couple things. I gotta remember too, when I'm doing this, that I am in the shadow zone. The shadow zone can only these dark colors can exist in my shadow zone. These light colors cannot. So I've made this little jig here so I can easily look at my picture that I took when I was in New York City. This is on 30 Rockefeller is the address to this building. And let's see, what else was I going to tell you about it? I don't know. My mom and I went in like 2003 or something. And we're up the top of it and looking down, and I took this picture. I thought it was really great. I've always wanted to paint this. So I've had this picture for over 20 years. And here I am today finally getting to paint it. So really excited that I get to do this and putting in some of my miniature styling ideas and recycled art ideas into this all in one makes this the ultimate little painting. Now, I have done this many years. There's a couple other paintings I've done this with before, but not to this extent. And my other paintings are a little bit more surreal and not as structured as this, but I really do well with these structured paintings. And I just do love to do this. So see a tiny little spot right there. Beep. One of the things that I'm doing is if I'm in this zone, I'm just going through and making some of these windows a little whiter. Not every one of them. I don't want to make every one of them as brilliant. I just want to add a little few spots here and there. Like in this one, I have a wider spot here, a wider spot there, and it just kind of goes together. And I'm still working on putting the dark lines in there because this paint gray, you have to stack it to get that really dark color. Oh, thanks for the little hearts. I appreciate it. So you really have to stack that gray's paint to get that super dark color, because when it starts out, it's very transparent, very translucent. You can like look right through it, and that's why you kind of keep adding the layers and layers. So that's one of the things I'm doing. Now I am going against rules. One rule is I should never paint pure titanium gray. You should always have it mixed with something, because that's what gives it some substance and it takes out the chalky look of it. But I am really trying to really just throw it on there. I'm not worried about a chalky effect for this painting as much. That's not really the worry on this. And like I said, I can come back through with these with a mixed titanium. I can mix my titanium, come back and go over that and take away that chalky look. But what I'm dealing with right now, contending with, I'll show you, as I throw my paintbrush on the ground. I'll throw it, and I throw it on the ground. Okay, it looks like it would be a lot of fun to paint. Yes, it is. We're over 300 some hours on this painting too. It is fun to paint this, especially if you really just need to chillax and rest and relax your mind. So right in here, let's go in here real quick, and I'm going to give you an example of one of the few problems I've been having here. Is you can see how the Payne's gray is left, and it's really dark. Well, this is me putting the white right over it. It barely hits it. It barely covers it. So that is why I am using that pure titanium white. Shame on me. But in the end, it's really important. Oh, I think my titanium white at the very end of my thing here, my titanium white is starting to get chunky. And you could see here the little chunks. It's like they're not completely dry, but they are a little bit harder to mix around. So what I'm going to do is take a little bit of my walnut oil, just a little bit of the walnut oil. I don't want to mix my walnut oil into all of my paint because it would dry it out before I was even done. So I'm just going to use my walnut oil sparingly, and I'm going to mix it in with this white here. And then I can go through and a little bit more fluid-like cover these areas. Now, actually going to use a tool for this, but I'm trying to give you an example of how difficult it is to cover those dark spots when you have them. So you have to really work hard at not having those dark spots at the beginning, but because I was building these windows and I had to move them to the right and left just a hair, I did have some of those dark spots. And when you drag those dark spots down, they leave a little ghost line underneath, which isn't bad because it looks like water driplets coming down the edge there. See, we could take advantage of that and just keep that look like water driplets or something. So that's one of the issues that I'm dealing with at the end of my painting. It's just getting the whites white and that Payne's gray as dark as possible. So that, like I said when I was talking about at the beginning of my painting, those would be the last steps of my painting, is getting those colors right. So no problem. Another thing I'm going to do is I decided that, let's pull back, I decided that anything in the light is going to need a little bit more whiter on the top edge of the building. So right here, for example, let's do this one. I have it gray, but let's make this white, a lighter color. And then I'm going to use, I've worn away my brushes. I'm going to tell you really quick about lifespan of brushes. And I've been doing this in every episode because I feel like it's important. And plus, you have to have something to talk about. If you're going to be on a live show, you might as well just regurgitate the information that you've already given before, because not everybody joins every live show. So what I was talking about is brushes definitely have a lifespan. People will, oh, your brushes, you blah, 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 blah. Brushes wear out, man. You can't expect your brush to last forever. And I'll guarantee that a lot of people don't realize that brushes only last a couple hundred hours. This brush here, have it about 200 hours. Oh no, this is the newer brush. Where's the old brush? Here is the older brush. This is about 200 hours. And what's happened in this older brush, now this is a smaller brush than the brush next to it. Here's the newer brush, but you see it's nice and full all the way up to the top. You get the nice tip at the top where you really can do fine detail with that. This brush is 200 hours. Look at how it's splayed out now. Now, it's really important that you don't store your brushes on the bristles so you don't have a bent bristles and stuff like that. But this one was stored flat, so there's no reason for that. But that is just wear and tear. And you can start to see that the edges are going to be more bulbous as we come into the middle. And that is because all these bristles have broken away to the edge. Now, the same thing has happened here. This brush has there's about 300 hours on it, and it is gone. It's hard as a rock at the top there, but I use this for cleaning up my edges. What I'll do is put a little on the turpenoid. I'll dip it onto my paper towel to take off the excess turpenoid, and I'll come through and I'll wipe that line edge with that mini oval, what's left of it. So there's another example, and then I'll show you one more brush example really quick. Okay, here's these are both oh, I forgot what they're called. Sorry, Well, this is number 4 and this is number 1. And you can see how, yes, they're different sizes, but this one, yeah, was a lot more fluffy like this brush here. And I've worn away just in like 300 or 400 hours all the edges, and what's left is the middle, and it's very difficult to use that. Sometimes I'll cut away these edges and clean up these brushes to make them more usable, because waste not, want not. And even though I still will have to buy brushes every so often, it's best to keep them out. Another thing about certain brushes is I like it when they're a little bit more stiff, because the oil paint is thick. Unless I really want to make my oil paint a little runnier, the paint's really stiff. So having a stiff brush allows me to place that oil right onto the painting. This one that's being so soft and it doesn't really want to put the paint down. So that's another difference as I'm painting. So as we go through, let's see, we are at 26 minutes. So I'm going to do this I'm going to do this for a few more minutes, because today is definitely full of many adventures, and I do have to go get paint for that Truman project today. Now, I don't have to go get it today, but I want to, because I have to do many layers of paint, so might as well start somewhere. And we got some sunshine outside. It's not freezing, so I think I could do a little bit of primering. So I will have to get some primer for my Truman project, some oil primer I'm gonna get, and I'm gonna get some oil paint. I also have an issue with my Truman project is I had a little bit of the wood chip off because I was impatient and cut it. And my poor husband is always like, let me help you fix it right. But I'm the kind of person that rather just do it and get it done. So in a way, we're a great team. He helps me out, and I just create random stuff. So that's the way it goes. Are we in the right zone? Yes, we are. What I'm doing with this here is I'm just trying to clean up my lines and get rid of that dark gray. And this will also clean up my lines. If I do this enough, my lines will look super crisp. And what this is just transparency paper. And I actually bought it for my dollhouse windows thinking this was a film on here. And it took me forever to try to take a film off. There was not a film on there. So I cut them into equal little strips, and you can see how they're already starting to worn away. So you can see how much time has been involved in that. I've been timing my work on and off for years. It really depends if it needs to be timed or not. And I mainly am I timing for myself. I don't know why I time sometimes. Maybe for myself, so I can get a gist of what my art is actually worth and the amount of time that goes into creating something. It's good to know. And this year I've really noticed more about like time management and on certain things. So I've been paying attention to how long things last, what it takes, yada yada. And when you've been creating for 40 to 60 hours a week for years and years and years and years and years, you start to see little patterns, and you also realize you have all the time in the world, because you have to fill in those projects with other projects. So every year I like to do one large project, and this was the project from last year, but I'm not trying to push myself to go fast on this painting, because I wanted to allow those unique ideas to bubble up, to come out of it, to let it draw me in and figure out. So that's some of the things that I do. And then I fill in my projects. I put my projects A, B, C, D. A is a fine art. B would be the dioramas. I'm not saying they're not A, it's just that this is my master. I'm a master at this. My dioramas, I'm probably master at those too, but I don't grade them the same way as I grade my oil paintings. I think I have more pride and ego involved into my oil paintings than I do into my miniatures. And I think that's definitely a way to think about it. Is yeah, I love to do all kinds of art, but this is the one thing that I'm really proud of. This is the one thing that you could definitely hurt my ego if you said something about my oil painting. So yeah, you know, that's the one thing. Anything else you can talk, talk anything, because I know. I also like to do D projects. D projects are crappy projects, and they're the most fun to do. After doing a long projects or during long projects, I will take a break and do a D project. I would do something simple like the crappy t-shirts. I had a series of crappy t-shirts with Sharpie pens. And then I did the crappy jewelry, the sarcastic jewelry, and then there was more, and it just, you know, different things like that. You can see what the paint looks like here on this, and then I clean this off like this. And when this paper towel gets icky, I'll put that in a pile there with the other paper towels. So D, B, and C art. I also use that rating in construction. A lot of people don't realize that when you're getting something done in construction, you pay for what you get. So if you want a $12,000 roof, you're going to get a $12,000 roof. You know, you can't complain about it. So there's different grades of all kinds of things in the world like that. So you know, pay for better or not. But you're also not getting anything cheaper in the long run if it doesn't turn out right. I said, get what you want the first time. If you got to save up longer and more, get what you want the first time, because you're going to regret getting the second hand or something else later on. So work harder to get that one thing you need. Unless it's a house, then I can give me any house, and I love it because I would love to remodel, restore. That's the thing I like to do. Build all the time. I do have a couple houses that I would like to make, and when I say miniature, what I mean is more like half scale. So I would like to make a little tree house out here, and I also wanted to make, I had some giant shell signs, so I was thinking about making like a round house out of those. Thing is, I need more property for all these houses that I want to build. All these small little houses too. They're all small. I feel like I just need to clone myself, and then my clone must listen to me. I don't think that's possible though. I don't think your clones are gonna like listen to you. They're gonna do their own things. So that won't help me any. I could get an intern, but then the intern would gain weight from me making them food all the time and trying my delicious foods. This is a difficult decision. I was watching my business people this morning. I like to listen to these business people. I call them my gym bros because a lot of business people do go to the gym. And I got some great advice today. And one of them was about critiquing. And critiquing is not insulting. Critiquing is, oh, I wrote it down, is telling someone what they are doing and what they can do differently to maybe correct their issue. And I said, well, that is a great way to think of critiquing, because I have been exploring critiquing, and I have been writing and studying critiquing down, and I even made a list of how to critique. So I was thinking about taking my new learned knowledge and philosophy and hitting one of the art galleries. Well, there is only one art gallery, I think, in town. I was going to say there is none, but I think there might be one. And take that idea there and walk around and look at the art and quietly critique things in my notepad, so that I felt like, yeah, I had a good grasp on how to critique properly. And that way, in the future, if I'm ever asked to critique, which I have been, but I didn't understand critiquing as much as I do now. So when I was asked before to critique, I was very unsure about it. I didn't really want to, because it's a lot of responsibility telling an artist something about their work that they aren't seeing themselves. And yeah, I myself could use from someone looking at my artwork and telling me, but I did have that person. I did have an art mentor, and they did help me go through life and learn these artistic things. And I had other eyes, so it's nice to have those extra eyes on there. and that little help in life. So if I can be a better critique, hopefully I can help other people too in the proper way. And so that's important to me, is helping the community in a good, positive way. Hold on. Have to take a breath. I was supposed to have some tea this morning, but I didn't. Oh, we did our 30 minutes. Okay, I have to go. Thanks you guys so much for joining. I really appreciate it. And I should be back tomorrow around 11. I got here on a little after 11:30 today. So that'll be fun to do. So thank you so much for joining me, and see you tomorrow. Bye.